And just like you were saying there, it's good to realize that you both have a nose for the bullshit, but you also have the nose for the smell of the rose. And that if you let the smell of the rose guide you, it will steer you in the good way. Whereas most people think that I have to suss out the bullshit and steer away from it. And it's the same thing, to go back to the analogy of speaking with somebody that you're really attracted to or in love with in the bar. You can feel that that sound is the smell of the rose, right? If I go there, who cares what all the other people are talking about, right? There's a million different voices out there, but there's only one that counts for you. People that I don't know, I can bullshit them once and then they go like, fool me twice, no way. People I do know a little bit, I can maybe get away with it twice, but fool me twice, not thrice, right? Loved ones will probably be there for me even if I bullshit them quite a few times. But the weirdest part of all is that we can bullshit ourselves every day for the rest of our lives and still not call it. So it's good to have that nose, but it's even better to see that if I follow the scent of the rose, the scent of what I love, the world will make room for me.
Yeah. It's like back to the club where there's the girl that we like. It sounds obvious, like, well, but let's say you don't know anyone and you go like, hey, you were like, oh, maybe I meet someone. Yeah. And it's like, so how did it go? Man, like I didn't really do much, you know. How was it? There was nobody you liked. No, it's just that there were like those two girls that were really ugly, really didn't like. And I just looked at them and talked to them all night.
Yeah.
You know, well, no wonder you're having problem dating. You know, like I just yeah. But that's actually we are so curious and interested and willing to engage with the bullshit.
Yeah.
That is no wonder we struggle. But somehow, at some point, we're taught that what we really need to pay attention to is all the ones we don't like.
Yeah.
Get an expert. You have to know all the history about every person you dislike. That's how you're going to end up in a good marriage. Like, what?
Just to jump in, I think one of the most important things for everybody listening is that this is not reserved for a few.
No.
That's the most democratic thing there is. Everybody has that whisper.
Yeah. That's huge. That's
right. Huge. That is big, because it might seem to somebody, oh, easy for you guys because you've studied this or you've done this. And no, this is already, I mean, if you're born, if you can wake up and say, I'm alive, I don't know for the rest, maybe they have it too. You got it. You got it. You no requirements, no nothing. That's the starting point. Is you got the whisper. You just need to understand that it's so seductive to start listening to the intellectual screams in your head instead of that scent of the rose, the whisper, whatever you want to call it. And one of the nice things that a CEO told me that I was coaching just a few weeks ago, he was saying this. He said, when I make a decision, it's quite important for me that it makes intellectual sense. He said, but I would never make the decision without the heart agreeing. And once those two agree, I will still not make the decision until my stomach gives it a green light. And I'm thinking that, you know, most people understand the head. Quite a few people understand the heart. But when he talked about the stomach, he meant the whisper. Yeah. I like it is the heart. It makes sense is the head. But then there's something almost magical
like
when you
this. There's nothing else. It's because.
Yeah. It's just this now. So he said those three has to align. But he said every now and then I can make a decision based on just the stomach, and that will never fool me either. And I thought that was a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, no, that's it. Also because I feel like the mind, we can really make up a reason for anything.
Yeah.
So after, we can easily justify anything with it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? We can fall in love when we are completely engaged with something. We can fall in love with anything, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, the first two, cool, but they are variable. And this is, it doesn't, there's no one right story. We can have an opinion and we can have a different opinion about it, right? There's no, even the liking, as you know, like, I can say, oh, I don't like that, only to then find myself really amused by doing it 10 minutes later, right?
Yeah.
It's a nature. To me, it seems to me that loving something is not something we do, it's who we are. So if I'm present to something, I will bring love to it. It's not an option, right? There's nothing that you're like, no, if I engage with that thing, I will only bring hate. That's not possible, right? So it's not something we do. But the stomach, the whisper is just, you can't help it. There's nothing you can do. It's like right, left. I don't know why. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
And what you were saying is so important about the fact that we all got it. And that's why I was thinking, and I never saw it like that. But yes, it is spiritual, and yes, God. But people could be like, "Well, I don't believe in God," or maybe I didn't, get the receiver of God when they gave it away. I don't. But in a way, it's such a basic, powerful, but basic, simple feature that it's almost like it feels like, well, that's the magic. But it really is to me like if we were all blindfolded, right, and say, hey, look, you have the eyes. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, like it's a magical thing. It's very spiritual, but you have the eyes. And all those questions about how do you make sure you don't crash against walls, and how do you make sure you can pick up objects in front of you, and how you make sure that it's incredible. When you use your eyes, it's all very simple. What? Wow. And we could talk about it in this mystical way, because if we imagine a world where we got used to cover them.
Yeah.
But so yes, it is incredible and magical and spiritual. And it's also the most basic and obvious thing. It's just, look, you got it. It to me is the same as the eyes. Like, well, you have the eyes and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Do not crash against walls. And you have the whisper, which is very helpful to navigate life and not struggle. And in fact, end up, have the word make room for you. But because it's part of the design, it's just how it works.
And it's amazing to me sometimes because it's a fact that we all live in the feeling of our thinking or no thinking, which means that everybody does the best they can given the thinking that looks real to them in the moment. It's so easy when we say a word that everybody has a lot of thoughts about, like God, that they immediately lose the feeling we're actually pointing to. So sometimes I try to stay away from it, and they say, well, what is that thing behind it? I said, if I say life force, you're going to be like, what force behind life? If I say God, you would say this. Let's just say it's glunk. And they go, what the hell is glunk? Exactly.
In a recent workshop, we called it Frank.
Yeah.
So what is it? Like, well, it's Frank. Don't worry about it. It's Frank. You shop with Frank, you'll be okay.
Yeah, it's because sometimes you just need to help people get out of whatever, because it's almost like an icon on your computer screen. You click it and then you open up all these folders, and the folders are in the way, so if you say Frank or glunk or something like that, they don't have an icon to push. But if you say something they're familiar with, even when you say it's thought, they push their icon for thought, and then you have like a 10,000 folders what thought is.
We think we're talking about the same thing, but no, like
No.
we all and yesterday I was at at a tournament, a football tournament with my kid. He was playing, and I realized, not for the first time, but those things that you just realize again and again and again and again. I was watching the game, and then I hear, because then the coach said something to a teammate, and I hear the dad, and I was kind of agreeing with, like, feel like, yeah, he's not playing too well, this kid. And the dad was like, what? He's playing his best game ever. And then I stopped for a second. I also thought, like, oh, interesting, because I thought my kid was playing his best game ever, and like, and then it just, nobody. In a way, there's no such thing as the game. See, it wasn't, and there was no point in arguing whether my version of it was more correct than his version, trying to, no, but listen, he missed 7 balls and my kid scored 3 goals. And so obviously, none of that was true. And now why I'm saying that is because that makes the whisper even more important. Because the truth is, at least the way it looks, we cannot trust what we see as true, because it isn't. Whatever we see, whatever we experience is our thoughts.
Yeah.
Just our thoughts. And they come and go, and they're made up in a certain way, and they're different from yours, and they're different from mine in 5 minutes. And that then is like, okay, but whoa, wait a minute. If you're telling me that literally anything I see when I look at my coach, anything I see when I look at my partner, anything I see when I look at my career, you're telling me that that's just my thoughts. What the heck am I going to do? See, that's why the whisper is essential. Because in that moment, for example, my world was very different from this one. And I was about to, like, explain this guy and straight him up, but that was so obvious. Like, that was it. I could trust that. Like, and immediately in that instant, what I was seeing changed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, but of course. And I gain perspective, and it's suddenly, but our reality keeps changing in front of our eyes. The only thing that is stable that we can try is that's always, the whisper is always there. That's a constant.
Yeah.
That's huge, even more. Like, one thing is like, okay, we have the word, and then we also have this cool compass. Nice, it's an extra thing. We could do without, but Or if you see, no, there's no freaking word in a way, because you keep creating it with your thoughts. Literally, that's all you have. The whisper is the only you have to thrive in your life, to take steps, to create. Because our opinion about anything, oh, this is a very good idea, I'm really cool. Oh, this was horrible. That will keep changing. There's no matter to it. It doesn't matter in the sense that there's no matter to it. It's just thought. A metaphor that I heard a couple of years ago that to me is way more accurate is being in a desert with, how you call it, the shifting sands.
Yeah.
So you go to sleep and you're like, okay, so we're going that way, and we have this very big dune on the right. So we have to make sure when we wake up that we keep it on the right to keep going. The problem is you go to sleep and the dunes are completely different.
Yeah.
So you cannot use what you see to navigate. Like, you cannot use what seems like a good idea and a bad idea, and this is right and this is wrong, and he's an asshole and he's good, because it keeps changing. You use a compass. That's the only way. You can't use a map, because the map keeps changing. Wait, but here it says the dune was here, and there's no dune. But the compass will always point north, and north doesn't move.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.